my left, your right. This is prostrate rosemary. This is the rosemary that likes to creep. And they're using it as a ground cover and to sort of hold that soil in place. But it's not a great culinary herb. It has okay flavor, but it's not as good as the upright stuff. From here on down, a lot of the herbs are Asian herbs. So in that bed, up until recently, we had a number of different basils. Thai basil and purple ruffle basil. Here is an herb called shiso, or sometimes it's called perilla. It's also called beefsteak plant because it does nice things with tomatoes. In Japan, shiso. That's good. And in Southeast Asia, perilla.
He's just an encyclopedia.
I
want to know all.
Not only green but purple as well. We may have some purple down here.
We buy it on our campus in little plastic containers, all lined up, very neat, very expensive.
So, come on down. Keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. This is basil. This is a bed of basil, purple ruffle basil. Basil does not like the cold weather. So you can see it already on the outs right here. Probably at some point in the next week or so, the gardener will come through and just harvest it all and be done with it. But don't confuse purple ruffle basil with purple shiso over here, because they're pretty similar in their appearance, but very, very different in their flavor.
I got the basil, like I said.
These are curly, those are flatter.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, you did? So right here is squash. We got plenty of squash kicking around. This is getting over the hill right now. If you ever grow squash, there's a male part of the plant and a female part of the plant. The blossoms that form with no fruit are the male part of the plant, and the blossoms that form with the fruit on the back end are the female part. So this, as an example, is a male flower. If it were a female flower, you would see a little zucchini that was growing right behind it, just like that.
Killed it.
What the feminists in the group will tell you is that the male part of the plant is worth nothing, huh? You'll never get any fruit from it, but if you want to stuff squash blossoms, this would be the part to pick off, rather than that right there, which will carry on and grow and get bigger.
Well, that's good.
It's for dinner, Johnny.
I'll eat it.
If you travel to Greece, it's not uncommon to go into the market and you'll find the crown of a plant like this just cut off. You'll get a couple of zucchini, a bunch of the greens, a couple of blossoms, and they will take everything and kind of cut it up and stew it down with lemon and olive oil and garlic. So we're sort of spoiled in that we just buy the blossoms or we just buy the fruit. You can eat these too, but you have to stew them because they're a little rough.
Yeah, I like it.
Woody. Woody.
Hungry. Who wants it?
All right. Just a couple of things that I want to share with you. If you ever need lemongrass and you can't find any, we've got it growing right down there at the end of the bed. That big thing that looks like a poodle dog. Right over here, this herb is a Mexican herb called epazote. And They use that as a carminative too. It shows up in a lot of green sauces. It shows up in green moles. It shows up in a lot of black bean dishes. But more than that, if you talk to anybody from Mexico, you'll hear stories like, my girlfriend broke my heart, but then my mom made me epazote tea and now everything's better again.
There you go.
I went to preschool and I got head lice, but my mom made me epazote tea and now everything's better again. Or, you know, I got a flat in my car and I just washed it with epazote tea and now everything's better again. So kind of a cure-all. This herb right here is very, very interesting. It's an herb called fish mint. And when you take a little bit of it and crush it up, you might be surprised at how fishy it is.
It is. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
But let me just put one idea in your head. Orange zest. Think about citrus zest. And then you go back to it and you can kind of pick that smell out of it. And when you cook with it, the fishiness kind of blows off very quickly and that orange zest smell sort of stays behind. Somebody was asking about cilantro and why some people think it's soapy and others don't. That right there is rau ram or Vietnamese coriander. If that's not what they use to put the smell into cheap motel soap, I would eat my toque. I mean, it is incredibly powerful and soapy smelling. But it's a great herb. You just haven't spent enough time in a cheap motel.
Oh my god. Really just
The stew.
Right here and here. What's that?
The stew, John. The soup.
Johnny.
We're going to head back there right now. Here and here is kaffir lime leaf. And it doesn't like cold weather. It doesn't like our weather much at all. So you can see it's a pretty sad little tree. But you can tell kaffir lime leaf, it's a leaf like this that's segmented. It's got a little waist, which reminds me of a joke. What did 0 say to 8? Nice belt, 8. So, what did a regular leaf say to, nice belt?
oh shit.
This is like
No, it's 5 foot. Why is 5
I
instead
know.
of 6? No, 647. That's right.
Because 79.
The fact that you just messed that up, puts me inside.